Vortex, I'm about to do something really exciting. I think you know what it is. I remember the first time that I got into cold brew. I was working at Kroger overnight because goodbye, thelonious. Suicidal today, I suppose. It's okay. He can commit suicide multiple times every day. That's what's cool about being a plastic car. Anyway, I was working at Kroger because I didn't want to get money from the government. And I figured that I should work at a grocery store to essentially spy on the American government. Because if you really want to know what they're up to, just work for a corporation, work for some industry, and then you can see what they're really doing to the people of the United States of America. And I made it a point to read a lot of ingredients on a lot of different boxes of what they call food, and it's really obvious because of the food, but I don't expect the majority of my country to notice. Because if they're not even going to notice, like, that their quality of life is diminishing, then why would they notice that in regards to the rest of the country? I feel like people just kind of put up with things because they don't want to try any harder to do better, you know? And that's really sad, but that is the state that most people are in, unfortunately. But anyway, one upside to working at Kroger overnight was that they had these cold brew bottles. And I was apparently the only one buying them because they discontinued them. But I used to walk around this grocery store at all hours of the morning with this little brown bottle of coffee, and people assumed that I was getting drunk because it looks like a red stripe. So I wanted to tell you guys that story. You better let me go, bitch. Don't you love it? Oh! I always have to make some kind of sound effect. This city is so fucking good, I never want to take it out. Some of them you can't shake because they're nitro. Don't do that with a nitrogen beverage. Is that good for me to be drinking that? Well, this one doesn't have nitrogen in it. Don't want to hit the barricades. Don't want to hit the barricades as cool as that would be. That sounds like something I would most definitely do.
There are a lot of really good bands that exist. People have the internet. So I could say that there's no excuse for them not having better taste, but I would say it's not an excuse, it's a reason. People are very stupid, okay? And when you're stupid, and maybe stupid's the wrong term, but I'm just being ugly right now, but when you don't know any better, you're just gonna keep choosing crap. And even though you have a lot of other options available to you, basically what the algorithm's doing is what has always been done, okay? They're trying to keep people like me from being put out there more. They don't want people like me to rise to the surface. Now, granted, I'm not doing anything to make that happen because I'd much rather have that happen organically than sell my soul to try to get likes and subscribers and everything. And furthermore, a lot of those people are not the kinds of people that I want anyway. Just to let you know, if you're simping for me, if you think that you agree with everything I say, eventually I'm going to say something that pisses you off, and you're never going to want to look at me ever again. I've seen this happen so many times. That's why if somebody's puffing me up and not giving me any actual criticism, but, you know, just blowing smoke as if I fucking need that. I blow smoke up my own ass, honey. I don't need you to do that, but thank you. Thank you. Yeah, if somebody's doing that, I tend to ignore them because, honestly, it disgusts me. Like, if somebody's attracted to me and I don't reciprocate that level of attraction, it revolts me. It really, really does. I wish that I wasn't like that sometimes, but I think that's why I'm like seemingly gay, because I'm just so disgusted by men. I really am though. They're just gross. They're so gross. That cloud's really cool though. We can marvel at the beauty of that cloud. It would be cooler if this was in color and not in black and white, but I think the black and white's still pretty groovy. But yeah, there's this chick that I just discovered on YouTube. I think the name of her channel is like Discovering Sky or something like that. But no, Finding Sky. I'll put a link down below. She's a lesbian. She's really hot too. I'm typically not into the bold eggs, but she's cool. She's really aware of herself, and she's like the female version of Art Chad. I believe I've talked about Art Chad. I'll put a link to his channel too because he's really cool. They have the same style, and they're both Zoomers that are really, really intelligent and aware of the state that our society is in. It's always Zoomers that impress me so very much, and it's not because I didn't think they had it in them. It's because the rest of their generation is like completely zonked out by fucking smartphones and vape pens and fake weed. So find one of them that's like they've risen above all of that. Most people in every generation are not going to rise above the mistakes of their generation. They're just not going to do that because they probably don't even think it's possible. But anyway, this chick, her name is Sky. And she did this video about how she really wants to be religious, but she's gay, and how all these religions are against people like her, and that's true. That's true. You can still come to my church, though. Nobody would get mad at you. Even if you were still engaging in that lifestyle, that's your cross to bear, you know? I think that a lot of people aren't ready for the whole idea of, like, you know, being alone. I mean, I think straight people can't handle that either. So, we're supposed to abstain from sexual immorality. So whether that involves homosexual behavior or masturbation or premarital sex, adultery, all that, it's all in the same vein. Now, of course, if you do engage in that sort of behavior, like, you can always repent if it's something that you're struggling with. I mean, this whole idea of God hating anybody, He doesn't want to send people to hell. That's the whole purpose of His Son dying on a cross. And I think that this is really misconstrued in our legalistic society that's obsessed with the rules, you know? It's interesting because America was a country that was established to escape British rule, and yet these legalistic people are so fucking toxic and nauseating to be around. And then you have the exact opposite of that, which is like a total free-for-all, and none of those people are happy. They're all on medication and watching porn. But, you know, it's just a big old mess. But I'm really excited whenever I discover a new person on YouTube that's, like, you know, really interesting and funny and self-aware. Like, that's cool. Because there are just so many people on YouTube, and there's a lot of content that's not very good. And so every once in a while, the algorithm will bless me with something really authentic. I think the algorithm's very fickle. Most of the time, it's gonna promote really shitty stuff, but every once in a while, it'll be in a mood. Maybe the medication that it's taken will just arbitrarily stop working, and they'll introduce me to some unique person that has a really fresh perspective on things. Because right now I think that there's, like, just this whole slew of people that are seemingly philosophical, but all that shit's so fucking nauseating. It's like the self-help section at Barnes & Noble. Like, it's just all these people that think, like, I have the answer, and I'm gonna start a YouTube channel about, like, all these things that I figured out in my life. I think what makes my channel authentic is that, like, I film myself, like, living my life. Like, oh, say hello. Say hello. Hi. See right there. Who else is gonna do that shit? Who else is gonna show you a dog sticking its lovely little head out the side of a truck? Who else is gonna show you that shit? Nobody. Nobody on YouTube's doing this, okay? I mean, there are definitely a lot of people that are like filming in their cars when they drive around. I'm not saying that I'm the only person doing that. I'm just saying that, like, I think that I take a lot of risks that most people in their right mind aren't gonna take for understandable reasons. They're pussies, right? I think that they're just not as adventurous, that's all. I'm just a crazy person, so, I always wanted to watch the kind of content that I'm making. Like, there's this movie that was made a while ago with Matthew McConaughey. It's called Ed TV. And it was all about this dude named Ed who was just living his life. And his whole TV show was made around it. So, it's really funny. It's a really entertaining movie. Rob Reiner, Ellen DeGeneres. Who's that chick that was on that show? Jenna Elfman. Yeah. I think it was made in the 90s. You know, I used to shoot videos, like when I started my YouTube channel, I was working at Wendy's, and so I started shooting like in the kitchen when I was washing dishes. I would shoot videos in the drive-thru. There were videos of me jumping out the drive-thru window. So, I've been told by a lot of people that watch YouTube that have been part of it since the very beginning that they've said, like, man, this is the most creative thing I've seen on here. Not trying to toot my own horn, because, like I've always said, nobody wants a siren. So, they really don't. As much as women love to go on the internet, make it obvious that they have a vagina. He's so adorable. He's so adorable. But yeah. There is good stuff out there, and it is possible to find it. It's just that we live in a world that's increasingly industrialized, and people like me like really intelligent people that are self-aware. And I'm not saying that I'm not fucking smart or anything, but I definitely have enough self-awareness to go around. And I think that what I'm doing is pretty different for the age that we're in. But yeah, I've always wanted to do something like a documentary about, you know, being mentally ill or whatever. And that's not all of me, obviously. That's what people used to say about being mentally ill or about being gay, and now that's literally what's all of them. That's all they talk about. And this is one of the things that this girl Sky was talking about, how like, yeah, being gay, that's not like your personality trait, you know? I think the issue is that a lot of people that are bothered by that, a lot of people that don't like homosexuality, they want to focus on that and they want to act like that's all you are. And so that's why gay people were saying, no, that's not the only thing about me. But now it clearly is. But I would say that the people that are constantly talking about that, they're probably not actually gay. Everything's so fucked, ain't it? They just don't have a personality. If they do, they don't have much of one. So whatever they do know about themselves, whatever they think makes them interesting or relevant. I think it's way more about relevance. You know, that's why they choose to talk about it nonstop. But you know, one of the reasons why I say I'm part gay is because it is only a part of me, but it's not really a part that I choose to capitalize on or focus on because, you know, I just would rather be alone anyway. Every time that I've been with a man, it hasn't worked out because they act just like women, so I might as well just be with a woman because I'm way more attracted to them. But at the same time, I don't want to be with a woman because they're too fucking crazy, and I can only deal with one crazy woman in this house, right? But I think I'm just supposed to be alone. I'm called to a life of chastity or celibacy or whatever. And it's not really a hard road for me, but I think that would be a hard road for a lot of people because they don't want to be alone and they don't want to, you know, never have sex. But also, that percentage of me that is even interested in that, it fluctuates day to day. So, you know, some days that percentage is a lot higher. Most of the time it's pretty low. But yeah, a lot of people don't get that. Well, because they don't know how to be alone. They don't know how to be alone. They don't know how to hack it without somebody there paying attention to them and all that. I mean, that's why the internet's so damn popular. That's why social media is really extreme, because people need to be validated. And I would rather commit suicide than live the way that most of y'all live, just to let you know. It's just absolutely sickening what our society has turned into. But yeah, if you want to watch content that's even better than mine, I'll put a link down below to these motherfuckers that impress me with their artistic ability and authentic perspective. At the end of the world. I'm kidding. They've been lying. They've been lying about that from the jump. They just want to control us. Bye-bye.